G'day guys, you are watching the XTC, hosted by the Sydney City Space Slugs. This is actually going to be our third game coverage from the Australia versus Spain matchup. I'm Tom Harper, and with me in the box today we have none other than Jim. How you going, Jim?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, good. So we've just had, well, the record now is 1 win for Australia, 2 wins for Spain. So Australia is pushed up against the deck, really. We need to basically have consecutive wins tonight and tomorrow, and only have 1 more loss, or we're really in a pickle. So without further ado, how about we look through these squads and watch the asteroid placement, and then we can have a bit of a chat about who we think is going to win. So, Jim, did you want to run us through the Rebel squad?
Yeah, so on Team Spain, we've got Jose with his little rebel salad here. Shara Bay in the A-Wing. Benthic Choo-Tubes with Perceptive Co-Pilot, Leia Organa, Hull Upgrade, and the Pivot Wing. Kyle Katarn with Jyn Erso and Moldy Crow, almost a staple these days. Garvin with Hull Upgrade. So a little bit interesting. Similar names, similar ships to the Rebel Salad that's out there now, but with a little twist. Did you want to talk about the other squad here?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a pretty standard Resistance X AAA. So we've got a large Poe Dameron with Predator, R4 Astromech, overdrive thrusters, staple jamming beams, and integrated S-foils. We have ZZ Tlo with cluster missiles. We have Talus and Lintra with Crackshot, and we have a nice little blocker in Merle Cobban with Intimidation. So I think, just kind of off the cuff, we've got a strong set of initiatives from this Rebel jousting squad, but we've also got very, very, very slippery aces on the Resistance side. So it's going to be a very interesting game in terms of shepherding and arc placement. Who would you kind of give obstacle victory setup to, Jim?
So we all know these A-Wings are very nimble, very fast. Poe included in that. There's a tight little formation in the middle there, which does benefit the A-Wings, but also you can see that the gas placement is quite central. So we may even see here Jose just straight up ignore those gas clouds and get in there. It is possible with Kyle to kind of just hold on to those focuses and punch over, not worrying about that extra focus action because you're already holding on to 2. But it is a risk. It is a risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And just while we're on the subject of Jose's squad, what do we really think about kind of Kyle Katarn with Jyn Erso, Moldy Crow, in the absence of Hera Syndulla in the A-Wing?
Does seem a little bit less powerful without Hera here. Hera has that capability to really just hold on to focuses and transfer them and make sure that they're going to the right ships when they're needed. Not only that, but changing them to that evade result when it's needed as well, as soon as it goes to that other ship, is kind of key to keeping this kind of squad on the field and tanky. But without Hera here, it does seem like it's lacking in that defensive capability and possibly even the offensive capability to get that focus when you need it.
Yeah, correct. I mean, even a piece such as Garvin, who usually shines in an X-Wing, a 265 X-Wing, now seen in an arc, not really going to be able to leverage, or at least on face value, that much of his kind of token shuffling ability. You're still going to be able to use Garvin's ability to then trigger Jyn Erso's evade shuffling ability, but not with nearly the same, I guess, efficiency and dependability that you'd see out of Hera. So I'm going to be really interested to see how this squad works, especially, we've got some, previously I've actually never seen this card on the table, vectored cannons. I'm really excited to see how that goes. So yeah, very, very interesting matchup. I know that we're on a little delay with the chat, but chat, if you just want to send us through who you think is going to win, feel free to engage with us. We'll try and kind of get through your comments and greetings as soon as possible. So yeah, what do we reckon we're going to see dancing around here, Jim? Nobbie's going to be able to leverage those rear arcs nicely. I guess he does have to be cautious of Garvin Dreas's rear arc, which is something that he wouldn't have had to consider in a standard, I guess, Heratani matchup.
Yeah, so that rear arc is of benefit, but again, as you said earlier, the efficiency just isn't there anymore. The one green evade on that Garvin just really doesn't take advantage of that focus spending as much as an X-wing could with two greens. But again, there is that extra coverage from that rear arc. It could be an issue with these A-wings trying to zip past quite fast. Nobbie actually quite experienced with the A-wings though. What do you think? What do you think his approach looks like here?
Well, that's the beauty of I think this squad, isn't it? In that his approach can be so loose, and given his experience with A-wings, and given the flexibility of both of these arcs, in terms of the front and rear arc on an A-wing, he can afford to be very loose and then hit a particular ship. Just let me comment on Nobbie. Yep. All right, you've got it, Jim. Yeah, so I think what we're going to see is a slow start from Nobbie, and he's just going to try and maybe draw these enemy ships into this obstacle field. He's going to be able to use these gas clouds to his utmost advantage, in that even a standard obstructed shot from Kyle's side arc, or even Shara Bay, or probably even Garvin Dreas's rear arc, will do next to no damage. So I think Nobbie's going to really want to make sure that he dances within those obstacle fields, gets a beautiful flank with Poe Dameron, and then when he can see a block or a layer, there's no layer stop. When he can see stopping or blocking come up, he can just punch in one of those fire forwards, rotate his arcs, and kind of get out of dodge. What do you think we're going to see from the Rebel player here, Jim? Are we going to see leveraging those medium bases to get a really nice block in, or?
You'd want to hope so here. So the we see this setup here from Jose. It's quite standard. You've got Kyle on the outside there, and Shara Bay's moving down the edge of the board now. But you've got that U-wing in the center, ready to move slow, pivot how it needs to kind of shift that approach with the arc really swinging around as well. Nobbie's placement, I think he placed that bottom rock there. It does seem like it might be an issue approaching this lone A-wing we see coming down here now as well. Interesting. That Merle, is it? Sorry, we just never see Merle on the field. Merle almost seemed a bit split there, but Poe coming back down to join Merle by the looks of it.
Yeah, and really able to, as we've talked about, feint and bait and switch too with those rear arcs. So getting a good flank, and this is the kind of deployment I like to see. You know, you've got two A-wings on one side, you've got a baiting A-wing, and then you've got Poe with overdrive thrusters that can really add to the fight wherever he's needed, and so quickly as well, and accurately. I really like the Predator overdrive thrusters S-foils build.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens. If you're the Rebel player, are you going to turn in here, or are you going to do a nice kind of right one bank with all of your ships and just make sure that you can jockey for position instead of exposing a flank too quickly?
Yeah, well, Nobbie's actually in a great position to pull back that A-wing and Poe, and maybe even bait Jose into overcommitting into that bottom corner. Jose, though, if he's smart, there's no reason to. There's no reason to punch in fast. He's got good room to kind of slow play a little still here, but he is slowly moving towards that rock at the bottom.
Yep. Absolutely. While we're at it, Jim, is it possible for you to color the ships, the A-wings, in the
Yes.
overlay? If it's not, that's totally fine. I guess they do have colors on the actual ships, and we can kind of keep people up to date. They've also got the colored cards as well, if you can see it underneath the overlay. Okay. So I think, yeah, we've got the kind of standard rebel approach here, loading up Kyle with Moldy Crow focus tokens. Benfic's going to be able to pick and choose a ship to give a mod, potentially double mods to. What do you think of Shara Bay in the A-Wing in this squad, Jim?
It's interesting, isn't it? It's not too often you do see Shara Bay in the A-Ring. Trying to leverage, I guess, that extra focus stacking from Benthic and from Kyle. But again, you're missing that flexibility of Hera. It would be interesting to maybe see that loss of efficiency from Garvin and having Hera instead, and having that that extra focus result coming in on Shara with a focus token always there to use with the assistance of Hera. But again, you're really trading that power that Hera brings to a squad.
Yeah, you are, because Garvin Dreas is a full 6 points extra in the arc than he is in the T65. So anyway, we'll see how Jose plays it. I'm really interested in this squad. Doesn't bank in towards the obstacles here, funnily enough, and does go quickly to try and make the most of that Merle bait. So, you could see a really beautiful flank here with these topmost A-Wings in ZZ Tlo and Talus and Lintra, who are on Poe's left side. How do you think Poe responds to this? I mean, Overdrive Thrusters allows him to kind of do whatever he wants. Do you think we have him play in front of these arcs, or do you think he just gets out of there?
I I think he's going to bait here. There's a lot of room to get trapped in that bottom corner now that everyone's moved down. The A-Wing's there. Everyone's going to be following through into that bottom corner as well. There's good opportunity for him to kind of play around and dance as Poe does. But at this stage, this early, it might be a bit of a risk to Poe down the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see here, Jose's kind of set up those medium bases in this kind of rightmost straight lane where Talus and Lintra is looking to potentially boost into. So that's a really good position for both Jose, but the asteroid on the rightmost side of the screen is also going to cause Jose some problems in the pursuit of Talus and Lintra should she decide to get really quick and get into the flank. Does have to, as we've kind of pointed out before, does have to be at least aware of Kyle Katarn's mobile arc and Garvin Dre's rear arc. But if you can play this right, then he should be able to get some free shots into the side. And a beautiful slow move with Poe, able to boost and large barrel roll, or barrel roll and large boost in any direction that he wants, thanks to overdrive thrusters. The perfect bait and switch ace, really. I think Poe is just such a good answer to so many things in the meta right now with a decent bid. Does decide to bait. What do you think about that one, Jim?
He still has room to turn away in the next 2 turns. Maybe pull Jose into committing into that bottom side here. I don't see that Ewing doing that, but he could grab the arc out of position by doing this barrel roll to the bottom.
Yeah, so you think he can plug in a kind of easy 2 left turn there, overdrive thrusters his way out of it, while the top 2 A-Wings really get a nice flank?
There's so much room for it. That 2 boost, too hard, barrel roll left and just boost ahead, and you're back in safe grounds while the A-Wings just flank out there.
Yeah. Do you not do a 2 left and instead just do a 1 left bank, and then you can kind of still get on either side of that obstacle, depending on what Jose decides to go for?
Yeah, it's interesting that slowing down that little bit extra gives you that extra option as well. In the trade-off is maybe not moving around that rock fast enough on the next 2 turns if you do have to disengage.
Yeah, for sure. And ZZ surely just does a 3 forward or so, continue that bait and switch. You would want to leverage, because obviously Nobbie's ships only have a 2 dice front arc here. So you really want to leverage Merle's ability where you can. The bullseye plus intimidation is up to 2 negative agility on a particular ship, and that is absolutely savage. Can you capitalize on it? That's a different question, but the ability is there.
Especially against a squad like this where you're not seeing more than 2 green dice. As soon as you land that intimidation and Merle combo, it's just free. It's free hull. It's free shields.
Yeah, 100%. And we've got, what do you think of this choice of ordnance on ZZ Tlo? Cluster missiles seem to be a bit of a staple in her currently, I guess with her ability being so flexible in terms of getting tokens. She can essentially double mod or get single mods for both cluster missiles, which is previously quite a hard thing to come by.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good value. But you also have to remember that Merle's ability is actually only primary attacks as well. So you are possibly losing out on that double intimidation combo. In
Ah,
saying that, if you've lost Merle and you don't have clusters on ZZ, then ZZ is just not as efficient as they can be.
hmm. So we are seeing the U-wing take that bottom lane to try and kind of keep these A-wings honest. And we've seen Merle decide that she will play with the rebel formation, probably calling the 2-in turn. So I'm assuming that if Nobbie's picked that too hard in, then he's gone real quick with those A-wings and is going to be in a really good position to at least draw out the layer turn or get a nice flank on these rebel ships. Layer is definitely something that we need to be cautious of here because there's going to be the ability for the U-wing and the Arc to just kind of ignore these clouds and obstacles in the middle here. So that's going to be really interesting.
Thanks for pointing that out, guys. The vectored thrusters is not on the overlay. It is in the squad here. Full 200 points. Vectored thrusters is there.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yep. Sorry, guys. I'm not sure what's happening there, but we do have vectored cannons on the Shara Bay A-wing. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so interesting turn here. We've got Shara Bay looking toward the middle of the board here. We've got those nice fast moves from the A-wings for a really good flank. But there is enough room for Benthic 2 Tubes to not only rotate to the right to threaten, but that will also leave enough room for Garvandreas to too hard over the top of Benthic 2 Tubes and really kind of make those A-wings stress a little bit. So I wonder if Nobbie has turned one of maybe ZZ Tlo into that kind of lane that the medium bases are pointing towards to try and keep them cautious about who they're going to pursue. What do you think about that one?
Sorry, I missed all that because I was fixing up that vectored cannons.
No, that's totally fine. We'll see what Nobbie does with ZZ Tlo. But what I was just saying is that you can have these medium bases point rightwards with layer with almost no consequence. So I was just wondering if Nobbie might have tempted with the idea to send one of the A-wings towards the front arcs of these medium bases to at least force Jose to make a decision as to who he pursues. But we're kind of getting that happen anyway, as Nobbie's barrel rolled out. He's left plenty of room for a one hard flank off of ZZ while these medium bases do pursue Talus and Lintra. So I'm going to be really interested to see what happens in the next turn down there.
Yeah, the approach from Merle is a bit interesting as well. You can see that it's actually a bit strange to have Merle not in the ruckus, in there setting up blocks, but obviously you don't really want to trade Merle without getting those blocks off. So he's playing quite safe here, still flanking with Merle and Poe at the same time. Hopefully Merle can move in and start getting that ability off along with the intimidation too.
Okay, interesting move from Poe. I picked the left bank the opposite way, but that's quite nice considering that there's not an easy path of pursuit for Jose onto Poe. So he's kind of going to get that really good flank no matter what Jose does, I guess. So we'll see what the engagement looks like. We're probably not going to see any damage done by Nobbie, but there could be a couple cheeky little shields done by Kyle into Merle. So let's have a look. Just misses the flank. I think there's only one shot, and that's going to be Kyle into Merle. Just want to say a quick thank you to our 67 viewers. Hope you're all enjoying the show and are liking what the slugs are doing. So here we go. Not obstructed either, which is a bit of a blow for Nobbie here. Oh, going to get the full 3. Doesn't even need to spend the target lock. And we do take a shield. Okay, not the worst. Could have been better. Could have been worse. Get the return shot into Kyle, see if Merle can't strip a shield as well.
To go into Kyle there.
I think so, yeah.
Very obstructed.
Chara's obstructed. Oh no, doesn't even have heroic. Okay. So Jim, if you're Nobbie, what are the moves? You're going to expect a 2-hard turn in with Garvin towards Tally. You're going to expect a potential rotate from Benthic to the right-hand side. Now that, just because it's expected doesn't mean that's what Jose is going to do. What do you think the path to victory here is for Jose in terms of isolating these little ships?
Yeah, Jose's really got to lock down and choose a target here. He's put himself in a position where he can't actually navigate or protect himself from both sides here. Lay is helpful. That U-wing can kind of just pivot as it wants. If he wants to pop layer or not, is his decision. But it doesn't look like he'll be able to have a good chunk of his squad pointing at Poe, who's quite dangerous. And Nobbie's done a good job at keeping Poe out of any trouble right now. So I think Jose is going to go for those 2 A-wings on the right there, both Easy and Taliesin kind of running around. And Tally's actually in a worrying spot, especially with that stress, sitting in that position where Garvin and Benthic could just turn on it. Not looking very good for Taliesin.
I think the safest move for Tally would be a 5 forward and get out. I
Right down
don't
the
think
side,
the
yeah.
2 hard could catch her, even the 2 hard barrel roll with Garvin. I mean, the 2 hard barrel roll might work, especially if you get given a focus token from Benthic before you do the barrel roll. But then you're also stressed, and you're probably looking at being in trouble next turn. So I'll be interested to see what happens. Maybe you actually kind of turn in towards Merle and Poe to keep those guys honest, and you can still use the back arc 2 dice to threaten the A-wings that are coming in pursuit.
So Gecko in the comments just made a good comment there. It looks like Nobbie forgot to use the gas cloud evade there, so missed opportunity.
No, it wasn't obstructed.
Ah,
yeah. It was
I
not
saw
obstructed.
fully obstructed on my screen as well.
Yeah,
As
the
BJ
guys.
Morrissey says, some weird parallax error and no obstruction.
Yeah. Here we go. So doing a really nice job of, I think they are going to do a bait and switch into Poe here. So Nobbie hopefully has called it because Merle looks to be set to turn left toward, Shower looks to be turning left towards Poe there with that nice systems phase movement.
And Bentix decided to just do the gentle 1 forward there. Not in a good spot to take shots this turn, but definitely in the following turns, using that pivot wing and Leia to keep in a good kind of turret position, just sitting in the middle of the board.
Yeah, 100%. A slow move from Kyle too, which is really going to put Merle in a precarious position because he's got a fully modified 4 dice shot. So a slow move from Merle might actually get her punished here. And there we see it. We do see the pursuit of Poe here, but really exposing the flank to those A-wings. Now, assuming Nobbie has decided that he didn't want anything to do with it, and he's done the 5 forward. You've got a free turn of not taking any damage here, I guess you could say. But you are going to see the A-wings on your rear fully next turn. So it's going to be interesting to see how much damage Jose can kind of get in now and prepare for next turn.
Yeah, it's very possible we see Merle taken down in this next engagement.
Yeah, taking 7 shots.
Really taking advantage of that effect, of the double intimidation. But it is quite close to that bullseye. I don't think it's quite in. So still won't pop that Merle effect if they die in this round of shooting.
Yeah, needed to go slightly faster with Merle to avoid taking so much fire here. The 2 hard around the rock with Garvin Dreas as well. If you had have gone slightly faster or further with maybe a 3 forward or a 2 bank boost, we would have seen no shots actually taken on Merle at all. But 2020 is always a better way of looking at things. So let's see how much damage Poe can avoid here. But I do think that given the chance, Jose's just going to take Merle off the board immediately and avoid that back arc even playing a part in this game.
Jose's actually set up really well to take advantage of Leia next turn as well. Depending on whether he wants to shift focused or keep focus on Poe. He might even need to use it next turn. That U-Wing can just shuffle on its own and really save Leia for the coming fight.
100%. And this is the beauty of overdrive thrusters here. So Poe can do a boost to the left and then barrel roll out of arc of Kyle. Or he could kind of get out of dodge by just taking a focus and 2 boosts to the right behind Merle and continue to make Merle a more attractive target. We'll see what he does here. There's so many options. I can't rattle them all off in one hit.
Do you think overdrive thrusters is flying under the radar a little bit at the moment? Oh, and that's a failed barrel roll.
Failed barrel roll. Okay, not good. So, who do you shoot then? Do you get rid of? Do you just get rid of Merle?
It's a tricky situation. You know here that you've got 2 shots unobstructed, regardless here on either Merle or Poe. I guess the opportunity here is you have to really leverage. If you make one choice and that focus results is still there, is it really worth still punching into that same ship? Yeah.
The barrel roll did look a little precarious. I think it was quite brave to try it. I think taking the stress. Now he's quite a predictable ship, but Merle can get in the way and prevent Poe getting blocked potentially. And if Poe doesn't take half here, then assuming Nobbie is very cautious, we can actually see him not get shot again. So this might be Jose's best chance to do some damage. And we're going to see Shara Bay's ability proc here by spending the lock and then taking the focus and doing 3. 2 shields so far, guys. As long as Nobbie only takes 1 more, we're in the clear. Who are we shooting? We're pinging Merle. Okay, so Kyle might actually take the shot into Merle, which means that Poe can get out here. Oh, very lucky. Okay, so do you pivot to try and get half on Poe here, or do you just continue the shot into Merle, Jim?
I'd go straight into Merle here. Poe's still got that focus result, so you're looking at the same dice regardless.
And we do shoot Merle. Yep. Okay, it's going to be the full string. Probably going to take a crit here at least. And we do take a shield and a crit. So let's see what it is. Console fire. Okay, so we could see Merle to go down. We'll have to see what happens. It's risky. Now, did we see ZZ do any damage? I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm not even sure if ZZ shot.
I don't think so, no. We saw ZZ shoot through the rock there.
And does go down to the console fire. Okay. Let's see if he can do some damage on the way out. That's a big blow for Nobbie, I'd say. Oh, no. And got the evade, too, on Kyle Katarn's ship, so won't be able to do any damage at all. But that's okay. It's quite a cheap ship here. We've still got Benthic relatively out of the fight. So, yeah, we've got a really good position for flanking on these A-Wings.
Yeah, Nobbie's not in a terrible position regardless here. He's still lost one of his key ships that really helps take down a beefy list like this. And Poe also has lost 2 shields. And Jose getting away, not taking any damage at all. But Nobbie does have a great flank set up with these A-Wings here. And Poe is so squirrely.
Yeah.
you can get away with a lot.
So the chat is actually saying that the game state is incorrect because Overdrive Thrusters states that Poe must complete a barrel roll if able, and is only able to do a 2-speed barrel roll if able. So he should have been able to barrel roll toward the right-hand side of the board. Now, I'm not entirely sure what to do. I think we, by
Technically,
definition, have to
we
call a
are
judge.
not judges, so we should tell them to pause the game to call a judge, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we pause the game.
Can you call a judge?
Yeah, I'll call the judge in the XTC chat. Do you want to just type something in? Oh, actually, we can't interfere at all. So we're not even allowed to tell them to pause the game. Let me just have a quick second.
So thanks again, everyone, for joining us on the XTC stream tonight with the Sydney City Space Slugs. Again, you're here with Tom Harper and Jim Hook, both of the Sydney City Space Slugs. Tom's game is next, also versus Spain. We've got 77 people watching right now. Which is great. We're just waiting on Tom to grab a judge. Unfortunately, we can't interfere with this game, and neither of us are official judges. So we will have to wait for a judge to pop in and hopefully fix this game state before they go ahead.
Yep, 100%. So I've just put in the XTC chat. Now, unfortunately, if a judge is not available, then there's nothing we can do at all. It doesn't actually look like there is a judge online at the moment, considering time zones. But we'll just see what happens, guys. Okay.
So we're seeing here turn in towards the left side, and also Carl turn in towards the middle with a too hard to the right there.
We're likely going to see Garvin jump over the top of Kyle and Shara turn in to pursue Poe. Now, what do you plug in as Poe here? You've got to do a 1 bank or a 3 forward. I think they're the only moves that'll kind of safely land and allow you to perform actions. What do you reckon?
It is interesting. What are we seeing here?
We've seen a focus rotate.
Focus rotate, so he's covering that rear arc here, really trying to trap Poe in that bottom corner now.
Yeah. Now, a 1 bank left would have been absolutely perfect with Poe here because he's going to avoid all the shots and get a potentially unanswered shot into Garvin. So we'll see what Nobbie's done. I think the 3 forward is a mistake because it's just so easily blocked and places you within the net of arcs. So I'm going to be interested to see what happens here. Okay, we're moving in with the A-wings. Now, you got to be careful not to get too close, don't you? Because there's so much blocking potential in Jose's squad. Do you take shots from here, Jim, or do you boost in to get some juicy range 1 shots potentially?
You see, I'm greedy. I love to boost in for those juicy range 1 shots. But I also can acknowledge that that's probably not the best decision. Nobbie really has to play smart here. He needs to be able to leverage those shots and make sure every little bit counts, especially with those A-wings with only 2 red dice. He really is still going up a hill here against Jose. Jose's gotten away with getting Nobbie's cheapest piece off the board, but also dealing that damage into Poe.
Okay, so we're going to be able to see a cluster missile trigger here. We might be able to see some damage onto both Kyle and Garvin from long range. So we'll see what happens. We've got 2 completely unanswered A-wing shots. We're just waiting to see what Poe reveals here. Now, There is a potential that Poe takes a lot of damage from Merle, from Shara, considering that Shara does have the lock and a focus token here, thanks to Bentic. And we do see the one bank. Oh, I was not expecting it to fit. Luckily, though, we've got overdrive thrusters, so we can do a boost and a barrel roll to the left. Sorry, a focus and a barrel roll to the left, straight over the top of Shara Bay, and that's
there it
exactly
is.
what we've got. Overdrive thrusters, OP.
It is really strong, and it feels like it's being stapled to Poe right now for good reason, but almost underplayed, right? Like the current meta, we're seeing a lot of resistance 5s, whether that's 3Xs and 2 shuttles, or 3Xs and a shuttle and an A-wing. What do you think? Do you think Poe should be dominating the field with overdrive thrusters now, right?
Potentially, right? But you see here as an example, like Nobbie's going to have to plan his dials so carefully next turn, because unfortunately Poe's dial is so predictable. He can only do a 3 forward at fastest. He can only do a 2 hard, to turn. So you've got to be really careful. He's almost an ace that wants to be engaging from afar, and then take a couple of kind of hits in the scrum and then boost out again. So he's a unique piece. Okay, triple crit off of ZZ.
And we saw Poe roll earlier.
Oh, natties for natties.
So Poe roll earlier, no hits into Benthic, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's the other issue with Poe. To keep him nimble, he's got to reduce his attack dice, unless you nail that bullseye, which is quite a tall order sometimes. We are going to take Tally into Garvin. Garvin's got no token, so he probably is a better shot than Kyle. Though you do have the crack shot available to you. So what would you be taking here, Jim? Would you focus on Kyle?
It's interesting. You know that it's going to be tough to sink those shots into Kyle. But, oh, look at that.
And there you go. You get 2 shields on Garvin.
2 shields into Garvin. No tokens.
Damage.
And safe. Garvin into Poe there, out of the rear arc. Seeing the return shot now from Benthic, straight into Poe. Range 2.
Oh, and a triple hit. Could be seeing half health on Poe here. Oh, and he gets lucky. So still not half health on Poe, but going to have to be exceptionally careful to not take any further damage next turn. Yeah. So what are the moves that you can smother Poe in here, Jim? You've got Benthic and Kyle to play with. Kyle is stressed, but can also use that as a bit of a feint, because the 2 hard to the left off of Kyle still points the back arc towards these A-wings. So that's actually not a bad idea either. But what are you going to do? What are you going to look at?
Interesting. He does have some lane usage here. The 3 straight just isn't an option. Poe normally wants to be able to get out. There is the interesting option here. We do have... No, sorry. I'm so used to seeing it normally. This Poe does not have the Black 1 title, so there is not even an option for Poe to just kind of bail out of this situation as we normally see. But in saying that, what would I do? I don't even know here. Look, I would leverage on the fact that Benthic might stop this turn, and in my mind, maybe pulling Poe out of the fight and just reassessing and getting some room by doing that 2 hard left, and then just overdrive thruster out of there.
Yep. What about a 2 right bank for Poe to essentially land exactly where Kyle is right now? That might be the safest place to be.
Interesting. You're still going to see more than likely these arcs pointed at him, even if he heads that direction. It does leave him open to following in on Garvin here, who is pointing towards the bottom of the board, meaning these A-wings might actually also all swarm in on Garvin here, who's a bit out of position right now with that stress.
Okay, guys, we do have an update from the judge. The judge has stated that the action does fail due to, if able, when checking the template to be available, he's been checking as a 2 straight, and he was not checking if the move fits, for example, with a 1. So he decided to use the 2, must use the 2, and then the 2 failed. So then the action is reset. Poe still takes the stress, and is essentially a failed action. So the game state is correct according to the judge as of right now. So no issues here. Now, Benthic's moves. So you want to be able to block and shoot, right? Does Kyle turn into one of these A-wings, point the rear arc towards the back, towards Poe, and then Benthic goes in for the 2 hard block?
Yeah, I mean, you think you'd see Kyle here just kind of gently go to the bank to the right here.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, that stress. Yep. Ooh.
So I think
Benthic
that
in
blocks
the block.
all of Poe's moves, with the exception of a 2 hard to the left. Really good use of Benthic's large base. And this is kind of what I was saying at the very beginning of the game. Being able to get these 2 large base ships, medium base ships, with their larger bases in the scrum is going to cause a lot of problems for Poe and some of these A-wings as well. The exception being with these A-wings, they have that beautiful rotate arc action. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're still seeing Jose being able to leverage that layer. Has not spent it yet. Flying quite well, covering the rear arcs as well here of Garvin, making sure that Poe does not overcommit here, or neither do the A-wings.
Absolutely. And I think Poe is best suited, as we were saying, kind of taking those double modded shots from afar and not getting involved in the scrum. But when he does get involved in the scrum, able to exit very, very quickly thanks to overdrive thrusters. So I wonder if we saw Nobbie kind of baiting for a little bit too long and now getting stuck, unable to effectively use that 3 to 4 dice gun. What do you think about that?
It's not terrible here. If he does get blocked, he's still only taking the 1 shot from the turret arc of Kyle here. So it's not looking too bad if Poe bumps, but he is going to be modless. He is going to be out in the open, and it's likely we'll see half points.
We'll have to see what happens, yeah. Unless Nobbie big-brained it and turned too hard to the left, and then he can safely re-enter the fight. We'll have to see what happens.
Hopefully he read my mind. And we do see the bump there from Poe.
Okay. And we don't have any good shots into Kyle right now, but we do only have 1 shot from Kyle into Poe. So if Nobbie gets lucky, we might actually see no damage done to Poe and escaping as well. Does get the bullseye shot here with Predator for 1 damage. Not having those mods is really hurting Poe. And then, of course, being able to get damage through on this token stack, being very difficult without full mods.
Yeah, it's looking more and more like Nobbie really has to fight back against Jose here. Jose just looks comfortably in control, consistently rolling those shots, keeping the pressure on Nobbie, and making sure that he isn't getting away with the squirrely A-wing shots that we're so used to seeing.
100%. We're seeing a good use of Shara Bay's ability. Too many A-wings on the board. A good use of ZZ Tlow's ability there to get an evade to guarantee 1 less damage coming in from Shara there. So that is quite handy. Did see 1 more shield taken off Garvin, thanks to a double crit from Taliesin, and now we'll see the return shot. Oh, a natural 3 hits. That's savage. Okay, we are going to lose a shield here. So we could see a full. So what do you think of Shara Bear's ability when it's able to trigger? It's fantastic, isn't it? Just a really cheap 3-dice gun.
Yeah, I mean, we were chatting about it at the start, and we really didn't think it was going to be worth a lot in this squad, but we're seeing quite a lot of value here. It's surprising, and it's really punching out the damage here.
Yeah, with Benthic, really, really good. Being able to throw that focus out and take that target lock with Shara, which is quite difficult to have on an A-Wing. So here's the big shot. We've got Kyle shooting into Poe. This is going to, really be a massive points sink or oh no.
Oh no, and we see the blank out there by Nobbie. 2 hits going into Poe, straight onto the hull.
Yeah, so that's quite a large points differential now. So we'll have to see what happens here. So you've really got to, for the remaining 37 minutes, your Nobbie, you've really got to start pushing some damage through. And, you might not even be able to get that much damage through with these 2-dice guns. What do you do in this position? How do you make the most of what you've got left?
That's a tough one. We just saw the second shield loss off Tally there as well. So half points on Tally, making it 92-0. Jose versus Nobbie here. It'll be difficult for Nobbie to really claw back from this one. Again, he does have the versatility of the A-Wings to his advantage here, but Jose has been holding on to that layer. When do you think we'll see that? Do you think Jose is actually in a good position now to spend it?
I mean, it's just such a good thing to have in the bank without actually spending it. That's the beauty of Leia, right? Like Nobbie now has to consider just from Benthic alone, a 1 forward, a 1 bank, a stop, going over the gas cloud. There are so many options that that Jose can kind of use to block up these ships. I'd bet money on the fact that we're going to see Benthic go for the block on Poe, and we're going to see Shara rotate the arc in the systems phase to the rear and do a sort of kind of, I think, a right turn to face down in that lane and into that scrum, get more blocks and more double modded shots. So it might actually be good to pop Leia here, but I'm not entirely sure. What would you do?
I personally would pop Leia here. I would leverage this part. Benthic's in a great spot to kind of move around still after using that layer after the rotate as well, depending where he does move, and then just play behind Poe. Just follow him. Don't let him get away and keep the pressure on.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you going to stop here with Kyle? Or do you move with Kyle? Because if you stop, you're really threatening Taliesin with that range 1 front arc shot as well. And if you can kind of do maybe a 2 bank with Garvin, you've got a bit of a pincer on her there. Yeah, there's just so many options for Jose with Leia right now. It's fantastic. I think you probably do see it. I think you're right, Jim. I think you're right.
And so we do have another game coming up at 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That is in 1 hour and 13 minutes with Tom Harper.
Me.
Will be heading the Aussie team. How are you feeling?
It's going to be an interesting game. We've done a lot of work for it, so hopefully I can put on a good show. But yeah, I think we've both got 2 squads with very high amounts of firepower, so it's going to be a bit of a variance bag, and I'm really excited to see who comes out on top. Always look forward to playing international opponents as well. It's just so much fun, and to do it on stream, even better.
It's one of the joys of kind of watching the XTC from the sidelines is seeing the banter and seeing these players from around the world come together. It's not too often this gets to happen, especially in a COVID world. But everyone's sprightly, everyone's really friendly. There's a lot of great fun going on, and it's just this is only the beginning.
This is X-Wing, isn't it?
It is X-Wing. This is us rolling dice. We're not even playing with plastic ships anymore. They're digital ships and digital dice.
And digital plastic. So it's a unique type of plastic. And then we do see the stop. We do see Leia. We do see Benthic passing a focus to Kyle. And we did, as we said, we did see the rotate from Shara. So I think we're going to stop with Kyle, stop with Benthic, 2-bank. Not the direction I thought with Garvin, but still a 2-bank. And then we're going to see a 2-hard move from Shara. There we go, to try and catch anything in that net of blocking death, I guess you could say.
Yeah, interesting that he's turned Garvin away here, but also is opening up that opportunity to use that rear arc. Again, we were talking about before, unique to the arc. Garvin in an X-Wing doesn't have it, so it's not something he could have done. And he's really setting up these nets. There he is. He's caught ZZ here in a really, really bad position.
Yeah, really good play from Jose. 4 different arcs have just caught ZZ. So going to have to use actions to get out of it, and will really likely only have a single mod for defense. So very, very interesting. Going to see a boost rotate. Still going to take 2 unobstructed shots and then 1 shot through the gas cloud from Benthic. Okay, I think that was a good move, or a better move from Nobbie, not coming in to get caught in Kyle's front arc as well, at least not at range 1. So we'll have to see what happens here. Do you just focus, or do you bail out? Barrel roll out of both arcs? That's an interesting choice. Works.
It works here. He's barrel rolling out for the safety. He does have to leverage those points here. Taliesin is on half.
Yeah, 100%.
He wants to keep those guns pointed, firing, but also keeping them safe. We've got half an hour on the clock, which means that Nobbie does still have time to be annoying with those A-Wings and plink where he can without taking shots himself.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to see some target locks being set up by Poe here to be able to re-enter the fight with full mods. Almost for the first time, actually. I don't believe we've seen Poe with a fully modded shot just yet. So this is the time to do it.
And we've got a heads up from the chat here as well that no one actually calls Jose. They just call him by his surname, Hungaro.
Hungaro? Okay, sorry. We'll start saying that from now on. All right. So what have we got here? We're going to see maybe a half points taken off of ZZ Tlo. Sorry, off of Shara. What do you do here? What's your target priority, Jim?
It's likely we'll see Shara go down here. That that token fortress of Kyle Katarn there, really unlikely to sink through any meaningful damage.
Yeah, unappealing, isn't it? Very unappealing. All right, so we'll see if we can chip half points or maybe 1 shield off of Shara. Currently sitting at no damage. And nothing. So we're going to see a token given to Shara here. Sorry, to ZZ. There are just too many A-Wings on the board. I'm getting confused. You take a focus. Do you think that's the right call, Jim?
He's expecting, we're going to see 3 shots into the 1 ship here. I guess he's hoping for that focus spread across all 3 dice.
One with the gas cloud too.
Yeah, 1 with the gas cloud, so there's a bit better value coming in, especially against that Benthic shot. And here we see 2 out of the rear arc of ZZ.
Faded nicely.
2 natty evades.
And we've just seen the Cam damage and Suresh, both fellow slugs, comment in the chat saying that Hungaro has played beautifully, and I absolutely agree. Really good use of these medium bases, really good use of all of these mobile arcs. Hungaro. Okay.
Hungaro. No H. Hungaro.
We'll get there eventually. Okay, and luckily seen no damage in return to ZZ. All that work by Hungaro for no damage. So what's the follow-up here, Jim? How are we going to get some points back on the table in Nobbie's favor? He does have half an hour.
He does have half an hour here. Poe has the ability to kind of sweep around and leverage that top side of the field, which he does have to himself. We might see Kyle attempt to trap him up there and keep those two separated. Those two A-wings separated from Poe. But Nobbie's going to have a tough time here, I think. He's really got to get back on his feet and show us why he does fly those A-wings so often.
Absolutely. Controversial. Do you turn Taliesin in towards Garvin? It's too risky, isn't it? You've got to get out of there. That's the problem. There's too much
so
splitting.
risky.
There's no target. There's no single target. What would the word there be? There's no unanimous targeting here. That's a good one.
And sometimes there isn't, right? Sometimes you just kind of have to take the shots that are put in front of you and sink into those shields while you can. We saw that in our game yesterday, where we watched Michael Turner versus Spain as well. And those little shots, they count. They always count, even if it's split between two targets. They add up until that opportunity where you can really just take advantage of that damage you've already plunked through.
100%, 100%. So yeah, we're just going to have to see a bait and switch here again from Nobbie. And yeah, basically continuing the trend. We're going to have to keep all of these ships alive. ZZ can't take any more damage. Tally can't take any more damage. And Poe can't really take any more damage. So to keep this points differential at 0 to 92, Nobbie's going to have to play really, really carefully and start clawing some points back. We do have a rotate back to the front with Shara. Now, if you're Hungaro, do you pursue Poe here or just go for the A-Wings?
I would personally go for the A-Wings. You know that Poe's going to have the leverage from the gas clouds there to kind of maneuver how he sees fit. And he's going to have that safety from the overdrive thrusters as well to really just get out of dodge in that situation. I did think that maybe he'd turn out Kyle just as a safety measure, but he still does have that rear arc, which I forgot about, which does cover Poe from coming in and hopefully still punish him if he does. We're seeing them all turn towards Tally here. Ooh, and Tally boosts 4 straight out of there. Good call by Nobbie here, but is he locked into the corner, do you think, Tom?
Really locked into the corner at the moment, absolutely. So good call. I don't see a way out that doesn't mean that Hungaro can't get at least 3 shots on him next turn. So I wonder if or at least why we didn't see a boost to the left there. Do you think that might have meant that the 2 hard goes off the board?
It's interesting. From my view, I don't think that 2 hard goes off the board, but maybe Nobbie has something in mind here.
Yep, he potentially does. Maybe he's just going to try and get half points on Garvin in exchange for Taliesin and attempt to get ZZ and Poe to do the rest of the work.
He does have that range 1 shot into Garvin, so maybe he's hoping to get something out of this trade, expecting to lose Taliesin in that corner. He definitely... Ooh, interesting here. So he's taking the lock.
Yep. Going to take a lock and a focus, I'm assuming, with Poe. Yep. Now he's going to start getting the full mod train. Try and get some damage. But unfortunately, Kyle is just in a position where he has so many tokens. It's going to be so difficult to punch through damage that isn't, at a distance further than 3. Yeah, and here we go. We have a 3-on-3 exchange with almost equal mods, so it's very difficult. Doesn't need any mods,
here
though.
It comes.
And does have the evade. Wow. Just such a powerhouse, isn't he? With all those tokens.
Yeah, and we've seen Kyle around before this recent wave of meta as well, and Jin. But it's really coming to light now how powerful this combo is. And we see a hit and 2 focus there, out the rear arc, range 1.
We are going to do it, which is points on the board for Nobbie. So we've got 2 hits down into Garvin. Can Nobbie survive? Ooh. Okay, we got one left on tally. What do you think, Jim? If Nobbie can stay alive for one more turn up in the top right corner, Hungaro is really forced to pursue. So that could give him just a little bit extra time to get that really good flank with ZZ and Poe.
Yeah, I think he's trying to capitalize here on having Tally in that corner and forcing Jose really to pressure Tally in the corner. The thing is, though, that Leia might come up a little too soon, and we might see that turnaround even if Jose does push into that corner.
Yeah, you're very correct. You're very correct. What do we think, viewers? We've got 79 still of you still viewing. What do we think? Advantage Hungaro certainly right now.
And Tally has taken an extra hull there as well. Now on one hull, still alive,
Still alive,
but now locked into that corner.
100%. But that's, as you said, Leia's not on the board just yet, but is going to be likely on the board by the time that Tally goes down. But does that mean that Nobbie is in a position with ZZ and Poe to really make Hungaro pay for it? That is going to be the question. While Benthic does have 8 health, he will burn very quickly. And if you can get those meaningful range 1 shots, unanswered shots into Kyle, also only a 5-dart ship. A 5 health ship. So not too far away, still with 20 minutes on the clock. There is a universe where Nobbie can claw it back here. But what does he need to do? What does he need to take advantage of? You're probably going to have at least one more unanswered turn of Poe and ZZ. How much damage can you get through in that turn? And what's your exit strategy as well?
There also is the scary option here of Jose just understanding that Taliesin is out of the fight for a little bit, maybe leveraging that rear arc instead from Garvin and turning the rest of the ships back in and putting the pressure on Poe again.
No, that's a very good point. Maybe he does turn in and just make sure that Poe doesn't see another round after this one, or at least forcing him back out of the fight with these overdrive thruster maneuvers. What do you do with Benthic? Surely you can just gum up that lane. Too hard.
Yeah.
Poe.
Yeah, again, that beautiful flying from Jose here. Benthic's just had such a good pathway through those clouds, even without Leia. And we see the 1 bank here. We assume to catch Poe off guard if he turns in and overcommits.
Yeah, completely agree. And I do think that one bank, still keeping your actions open to support the rest of your squad, is a very good move. Also likely going to catch Poe. I think one missing piece that we did discuss briefly in XTC is Black 1. Being able to get out of that precarious situation by slamming into a ship is just so useful and would really help here. And Jim, you've called it. We've got the use of the back arc or the double arcs from Kyle and Garvin to threaten Tally, and coming in to call the Poe joust.
Yep, and we've also got Shara here getting ready to continue the assault onto Poe. We see ZZ come in with an easy 2 bank, clearing that stress.
Does have a lock on Benthic. I wonder if we just see a focus rotate here. Just use the cluster missiles that you've got for a 3-dice attack. Yeah, and there it is. Focus rotate. Didn't even need to rotate, actually, because you've got cluster missiles there. So could have kept your dial a little bit more open. There's easy. Can we get any damage in from Tally before she goes down? What do you think, Jim?
It doesn't look like she'll have the arc if she boosts here, unfortunately.
Takes an evade. What do we got from Poe?
And there she does. She does boost. Arc still pointing to the rear.
Indeed. 2 bank the other direction. Can slam out of this one, so he did call the turn in. Very good. And barrels out of arc.
So Nobbie is really leveraging this time that he has now and playing a lot safer with Poe. Only having 2 hull left is scary when you have Poe on the field. You don't want to be caught out, especially in a net that Jose has set up. And Jose has actually shown that he's quite capable at setting up these traps and keeping his opponent on the edge and having to make these safe maneuvers, as Nobbie has done.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've just had Lord Ninox post in the chat that using only the shots that matter, Hungaro knows how to keep pressure. And we have seen that. We have absolutely seen Hungaro keeping up the pressure, keeping the boot on the throat of Nobbie here. Still alive with Tally, though. So, if he can escape here, it will be Kyle as the most dangerous shot, range 2 with double mods. Can he survive? Here it is, the moment of truth. 2 so far with the lock.
Ooh,
3.
and we're going to see 3 here.
Oh, so close.
And the crit goes
go
through.
down, though. So it's an even further uphill battle here for Nobbie. 16 minutes on the clock. What do we need to do? I think we just need to pray that variance holds you and turn everything in.
And just out of arc there, we saw from Poe as well. That was close.
It was very close.
So Nobbie's in quite the position here. He has been fighting an uphill battle since that first and second engagement here, and he still has to leverage the amount of maneuverability that Poe has. But Jose's squad is still in a good position to catch Poe out. There is that rock in front of Benthic, stopping him from kind of playing out wide on Jose's side of the field. But it's likely we'll just see Benthic turn into the middle of the board here and keep leveraging that middle cloud and just flying around it, knowing that he has the space. And Leia is also back up. What do you think, Tom? What do you think Nobbie has to do here to really bring it back?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to bring it back in 15 minutes. What are the points on the board right now, Jim?
So we've got 112 points to Jose and 26 to Nobbie.
Okay, so 112 to 26. So unfortunately, there's not a world where we can kill 2 ships and equal the score. So I think what we're going to have to do is use every minute that we've got. Unfortunately, and I wouldn't say this normally, maybe not in a standard tournament competition, but because wins are the only thing that matters for the XTC, I think we're just going to have to pray to the dice gods, turn in and just try and do max damage and just see if you can get to the other side. You've really got to burn down Garvin. I think he's probably the most scary gun currently. And then you can probably turn your gaze towards maybe Benthic or Kyle. Benthic is the most expensive ship, I believe, at 61 points. So if you kill Garvin and Benthic, I think that's still not enough. What's that? 61 plus 56? Yeah, 117. How many points did you say?
112. So that would put Nobbie ahead, but it's still a big ask.
It is a big ask. It is a massive ask. It would be 1, 2, 8, 12 damage in 15 minutes and not taking anything in return. It is a big ask. But I do think you have to too hard turn in with Poe, and maybe even a 2 forward, predicting that 2 left turn with Benthic, just to get a really nice juicy range 1 shot. But I don't know. I honestly don't know, Jim. It's going to be an uphill battle. Absolutely.
Yeah, Nobbie definitely has to start putting points on the board here. He can't fly around. There's no MOV. He's not saving any points by not shooting here. And Jose also knows that. He's setting the trap. He's expecting Nobbie to turn in, and I think he knows that Nobbie really has to commit and throw some dice and pray that he doesn't take damage in return to bring this back.
I think a 2 forward there with CZ was probably the most optimal move, considering that you've got a gas cloud in the way. You know, the only thing that really threatened you there, from Benthic at least, was maybe a rotate, but then you'd still have the obstruction. So could go down here against Garvin. We do have a double modded range 1 shot. We'll just have to see what happens. What does Poe do? Does he turn in? He does. Do we have a shot into Garvin? Because that could potentially kill Garvin before he shoots into ZZ. No, okay, we're not going to take the shot. We're going to go for Kyle. All right, and Kyle has no evades, so there's no time like the present, right?
Yeah, Kyle's running low on those tokens that he's been stacking up, so he's in a decent enough position to try and push some damage through, but it is range 3. Nobbie rolls a crit and 2 hits here.
Okay, so we are going to see half damage. So that's a hit and crit. And what have we got?
And a direct hit.
So we're in the danger zone with Kyle. In the danger zone. How much damage can ZZ kind of prevent here? We absolutely cannot see her take a shield here. Okay, 2 more on Garvin. So there is a world, Jim, in 10 minutes. You know, all we have to do now is take 4 more points of damage off Benthic, kill Kyle, and kill Garvin.
It does look like it's coming back. He's just out of arc there.
Oh, wow.
Great move by Nobbie, coming in and boosting out of that arc, taking no shots except for this one here from Kyle coming up. We really don't want to see it. We don't want to see what we're thinking here. There's the 2 hits.
There's the sign. Can we blank? Oh, take 1 more
and he
damage.
still takes 1. He's still up, but we didn't want that.
That would have been awful. So potential layer turn here. You know, a 3 hard with Kyle and a boost might be Poe's undoing here, unless he turns into the board center. So what do you do? What do you prioritize? You've got to assume that Benthic is flipping. You've got to assume that Garvin is flipping or just using the rear arc that he's got. And you've got to assume that Kyle is going to move fast enough for Poe not to be able to catch him. So how do you kind of mitigate those issues, Jim?
It's interesting because I see Shara Bay doing that right 1 hard as well and just boosting in to stay on Poe's tail here. Nobbie really has to sink Kyle to get ahead. And he's going to have to, as we said before, this is Nobbie's only choice. He's got to pray. He's got to keep his faith open and hopefully get away while pushing damage through. He's got to get ahead here by taking down Kyle and turning back in on what would be, as you'd expect, a Benthic, using that pivot wing to turn around and also face Poe.
Yeah, so can Poe escape with just 1 health here left, do you think?
Is it worth it? You're going to be trading that damage output if you do move Poe out. And he's still going to be behind. If this was your average tournament, it might be a good option to turn around and leverage that. But I just don't think that ZZ will be able to push through enough damage on their own.
It's dicey. So what do we see from Garvin here? Does he exit the fight?
Garvin's in a great position to just do the K turn. Get ready for the next few rounds, reposition, and just relax whilst the A-Wing and Benthic hopefully clean up Poe here.
Yeah, there we see the rotate with Benthic. Probably doing the 180. There it is. What do we see from Garvin and Kyle? That's my biggest question. I wonder if we see it 3 hard from Kyle and then a boost to really just gum up the 1 speed moves from Poe. Did do a 3 left. Yep. Do we see the boost? I think we have to, because a 1 bank to the left or forward would really enable Poe. There's the boost.
There's the boost.
I've still got it, Jim. I've still got it.
And the 5K there from Garvin. So again, Jose really leveraging his ability to move arcs where he needs them and set up those traps. So if Poe here did go too slow, it does look like he's going to be caught. Either way, he's going to be taking shots. It doesn't matter what direction he heads in here. He's getting shot at and possibly popping.
So I think we're going to see the boost rotate from ZZ to try and kill Carl as a last minute. We might see a shot from Benfic, though, into ZZ there. And we do bump with Poe. Gone for the one left bank. Didn't anticipate the 3 hard boost. So I think you needed to move quick there and slam out. The one thing that you did not factor in was the one thing that you could not do was bump there.
We're seeing shots here from ZZ.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Can Poe survive? 1 health left.
Shara into Poe.
Here it is. So Shara can add the focus by spending the lock, get 3, and that's a guaranteed death from Poe.
And there goes Poe.
Yeah, that 3 hard, Jim. I told you it was coming.
Is dirty. We should have trusted Jose. I should have trusted Jose. You knew it was coming. And wow.
3 hards with boosts seem to be Australia's undoing in the XTC.
And also the surprising skill here from the Spain players, the Spanish players here, a squad which you normally wouldn't see on the field, especially in a tournament, being played especially well by Jose.
Yes, I can't fault Jose for anything here, really. Made some fantastic piloting choices, really good targeting priority, fantastic use of these mobile arcs, and Benfic flown very unconventionally, in my opinion, but to great effect. So big congrats on pilot skill here, Hungaro, sorry. We'll get their name right.
You better.
Could this be the end? 3 hits from Benfic.
Holding on. There's
Really
ZZ
holding on.
with the evade and 2 focuses, spends that focus and save.
Holding on indeed.
So Hungaro's in a great position here to just take it slow and wipe ZZ off the board for a clean sweep. I don't think Nobbie can bring this back.
I don't think so.
Does
We've
look
got
like another win
129.
for Spain today. So out of the 3 games today, we've got Tom Hopper up next, my co-commentator from the Slugs, also playing, which should be a great match. We've got what we're used to seeing on the Rebel Beef side. We're seeing Hera, Benthic, Kyle, and Garvin, but Garvin in the X-Wing, in your classic Rebel token swapping squad. And what are we seeing from your opponent, Tom?
Resistance 5s. Yep. So we've got 3 Red Squadron experts with heroic, and we've also got Rose Tico in the shuttle with C3PO. And to great effect, we've also got it's not ZZ Tlo, it is Zara Bangle with tracer threads. So essentially, what I expect is always double modding tracer threads, a really good initiative spread at I3. So it's going to be a really tough matchup for my squad, actually. We're going to be able to trade shots. Benfic's going to be able to die potentially before the entire resistance squad shoots. So yeah, gonna have to pull some cats out of the bag for this one, but I am very excited.
And
very
Metal
excited.
Bag has said that the pronunciation is similar to kangaroo, but I think without the Australian accent. So kangaroo,
Ungaru?
so Hungaro. I don't know if that's correct. Please, someone let me know if I'm wrong and silly.
Never silly, never wrong. Just Jim.
Anyone who's played me on the table would know I'm always silly and sometimes wrong. But hoping to change that. I'm trying to put more board time again. We're back in the season. It's good. It's a great time for X-Wing.
It is a fantastic time for X-Wing, and TTS is really, really kind of keeping this community alive through a pretty tough couple years. So very interested.
Yeah, big ups to the guys doing the X-Wing Unified mod on TTS. Very much keeping the scene alive. I know personally I was a bit reluctant to play X-Wing on the computer. It really is for me that tactile experience of putting ships on the table and rolling dice. But you know, I'm back into it. I've been playing on Tabletop Simulator as well. And our local store is back up in action as well, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of the home of the Sydney City Space Slugs. So we're just absolutely loving being back in the fold and being able to really get some table time, exactly as Jim said.
And we're seeing shots here from ZZ into Garvin.
Can we polish off?
Timer's done. We've got one crit.
We've got an evade.
Oh, and rubbing it in. There's the evade.
Is he going to be able to kill ZZ at the end? Let's have a look. We do have a double modded shot here. 3 hits. Can we get that 200 points?
Don't do this to Nobbie.
Oh,
no.
You're joking.
Oh,
He gets it. For the 200. The disrespect 200.
That hurts. That is a disrespectful to. Oh no, the evade token.
Oh. What about the crit?
Loose stabilizer. He's fine.
Well, we do have 2 more shots coming in.
Hold on, ZZ.
We do have a lock. We do have a focus. And we do get an evade result. So Kyle is going to be the last one to shoot if he has arc. Can he seal the deal? Potentially.
There it is, range 3 from Kyle into ZZ.
Hit crit. Could do it. And we are safe. So Nobbie does get away without losing the full 200. So due to the 90-second delay, it might be difficult to get the players in the box, in the chat box. So, do you want me to ask the players, or do you think? What do you reckon, Jim?
We might call it for this one, just because we'll have to set up for the next game as well. But if you and your opponent next game, maybe you can ask him. See if we can have a post-game chat. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. We've been the Sydney City Space Slugs. We will continue to be the Sydney City Space Slugs at 10 p.m. or in 38 minutes. So do stick around to watch myself